Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. I have missed you. I believe it's Friday, it's noon. I'm in Malaysia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about money. We are talking about business. We are talking about being able to identify prosperity through economic conditions. Now, today what I'm going to be going through is I'm going to be helping you all understand something, because there's a common theme with my live and I don't think I'm hitting home. So I'm going to give you a global point of view. What am I talking about? Anyone who watches me understands repeatedly that money doesn't disappear, money just moves. And I'm going to be showing you today from a global, international perspective of how countries and companies are always making moves to stay in alignment or ahead of future economic prosperity. The only group of people who seem to have some type of lag, some type of denial or delusion are actual individuals. So my hope is by showing you how countries and companies move with economic trends and create or enhance economic booms, how they're able to sustain and create cash. All right. Now, the only thing I need from you as follows. I think I need 2 or 3 things. The first thing I need you to do, I need you to accept that this is a very comprehensive, cerebral live, which means you need to focus and pay attention. 2, I have a moderator. My moderator is merciless. So if you are not engaging in value-adding activities, you will get blocked. I want you to understand that either you're adding value or you're adding value in some way. Third, I need you to tap the screen and give me hearts, because when you tap the screen and give me hearts, that lets the TikTok algorithm know that I'm adding value and I can help as many people as possible. So what do? I look at history, I look at business trends, I look at economics, and I explain it to you in a way that makes it very, very simple and very, very easy for you to understand how do you sustain prosperity even during a recession, okay? So I want to prepare you right now. 1, I have a moderator, okay? 2, all I need you to do is tap the screen and give me hearts. 3, if you have a value-adding comment or question, feel free to share. But if you're talking about my hair, you're talking about my teeth, you will get blocked, all right? We are about money. How do you identify economic boom so you can prosper? So if this is something that you can relate with, something you can understand, welcome to my live stream. My name is Tara. I have a degree in business and international economics. I am a digital nomad. Currently, right now, I'm in Malaysia. Next Tuesday, I'm taking flight for a new country. Now, let's get started. If you do not know, Canada has relied to a certain extent on the United States for weapons, for arms type of deal. Now, why is this critical? Right now, the U.S. and Canada, they're having spats, okay? They're having spats, fights, tariff fights, border fights. They're just fighting. Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state of America. It's just a bunch of Real Housewives BS going on. I want you to understand. But what's happening? Because the U.S. has had a long history of making unfavorable economic deals or defense deals, meaning it's not been in our favor, we have gotten shafted of some sort, and that has played a part in our current deficit and the state of our economy right now. So Trump has essentially told Canada, either you protect our borders or we're going to have some problems. The U.S. has also gone to the EU saying, look, EU, you are a part of NATO. As being a part of NATO, you are supposed to be coughing up a certain amount of money to the NATO pool. Now, Trump has told the EU, either you put your share of the NATO budget in the pool, or we're going to have a problem. Trump has told Canada, you need to fix this border problem that we have, because there's some activities, some things coming across the U.S. border that are impacting the U.S. economy and the U.S. citizens. You can read between the lines. So what has happened? Canada and the EU have decided that they will become besties. So instead of them getting arms deal or weapons or fighter planes and things like that from the U.S., EU and Canada are talking. They're talking about how they can support one another and how they can I guess, protect their country, protect their borders. Now, what you must understand is this. Canada and the U.S. has been reliant on the U.S. for a number of different reasons. And now that Canada and EU are upset with the U.S., probably rightfully so, they are trying to come together and figure out how they can protect their own countries. So Canada has recently canceled their defense contracts with the United States. And Canada has given the defense contracts or set up defense contracts with the EU. Now, here's what's funny. The EU relies on the US. Canada relies on the US. Canada is going to the EU, and the EU has a history of relying on the US. So when Canada is giving defense contracts to the EU, more than likely the EU is going to buy them from the US and then rebrand them and sell them back to Canada. I'm telling you this example because I want you to understand from a global point of view, money doesn't disappear. You have children in sandboxes who can get along better than some of the presidents of our countries. I want you to understand. We like to think that these people of power and money, they behave differently than children in the sandbox. But no, it's the same thing. It just, the playground is a little bit differently. So Canada is trying to secure or get defense weapons and things like that from the EU. The EU is trying to put its dollars and pounds together to either cough up money for NATO so they're not beholden or relying on the US. Let me tell you something, guys. When Canada canceled the defense contract with the US, did the US lose money? The US may have lost some money, but on some level, I'm sure the US got a deposit for those fighter jets. Now, EU's thinking, great, I got a defense contract from Canada. But the EU, where are the weapons? Where are the fighter jets? The EU is not known for this. They are behind. So why would Canada give defense contracts to the EU when it's clear that the EU has a history of relying on the US? This is Tweedledee and Tweedledum-dum. It doesn't make sense. Now, why am I telling you this? How does this relate to you? This relates to you because you just saw Canada canceling fighter jet contracts with the US and shifting the money over to the EU. I told you at the beginning of my live stream, I would give you global examples of how companies and countries move with the flow of money. The EU, the EU now is getting a portion of the bag, that money, that defense money that the US used to get. So as you're watching my live stream, you must really pay attention to what I'm saying. Because at the end of my live stream, I'm going to pose this question for you. What are you doing? Either you're going to end up on the side, stay on the side of broke money, or you're going to align with the economic booms that are happening in front of your face to secure your present and your economic future. Are you with me? I know you're seeing the people get blocked. Welcome to my live. Welcome to my live. If you're happy to be here, you're enjoying my live stream, the only thing you have to do is tap the screen and give me hearts. When I see the hearts, I know that you're understanding me and we are in alignment. I need to drill into your minds. I need to cement in your minds. Money does not disappear. Money moves. And the problem is that you have become so accustomed to working for someone else. You do not fundamentally understand the patterns of money. Money is like the ocean. It runs in tides. And if you cannot get in alignment and take I wouldn't even say a leap of faith. Look at the movement, look at the trends, and align yourself with that. That is how you stay generational poverty. That is how generational poverty stays with you. If companies can do it, countries can do it, you can do it too. And if you're watching my live stream, you must understand the critical nature of what I'm saying. Canada is pissed with the US. Canada says, I'm not giving you this money. Now, the US is not worried because the US knows either way, the fighter jets are coming from the US. I want to be clear. One way or another, the contract that Canada canceled, The US is pretty confident that money is going to end up back in our pockets. You know why? Because we specialize in creating fighter jets and things like that. So if Canada feels better by getting their fighter jets from the EU and the EU gets it from the US, nonetheless, the US is still going to get that bag. And you need to get that bag also, okay? First example. This is my first example of how money moves. Now, because Canada got caught up in its emotions, it's giving the money to the EU. Now, the EU, can the EU service these defense contracts? Can the EU deliver on these fighter jets? The likelihood of that is very slim. The EU will have to outsource or find a supplier to provide the equipment to Canada. And I can guarantee you some portion of that is going to be coming from the US. That's just how it works. There's only so many key players that's able to create fighter jets. There's only so many. So whether Canada is willing to accept the truth or not, the money is going to end up back into the US. I'm telling you that right now. So they canceled their fighter jet contracts from the US and they are attempting to manufacture on their own. Canada is also attempting to do manufacturing on their own. Let me explain something to you. If you do not have the technology, the manufacturing facilities, the production facilities set up already to produce fighter jets, that means there is a 1 to 10 year, okay, road that Canada has to catch up to be able to produce its own fighter jets. It does not economically make sense. You go from not being an expert in creating fighter jets to all of a sudden, because you're upset, deciding that you're going to invest in creating your own fighter jets. You need 3 to 15 years to get that up successfully. You got to hire the people. You got to build the factories. You have to get the supplies. It doesn't make sense. So this is another example of how you have people in power running our country, whether you're in Canada, US, running our country, and they are not making economically feasible decisions. Canada is great, but I'm telling you, when it comes to spending money, even countries can make mistakes in their decision-making skills. They make mistakes in their decision-making skills. If you do not have the technology and the production and manufacturing setup, all of a sudden you just can't start creating fighter jets because you've relied so heavily on the United States. You need time to transition and pivot. So this is a sign of potentially bad decision making that's going to cost taxpayers in Canada a lot of money. And unless they have an alternate solution to protect the interests of Canada, this is a cluster effort. It's a cluster effort. Now, I want you to think about this from a personal perspective. Imagine that you were a chef. You are a chef, and you got fired by the Michelin star restaurant you used to work in. So because you got fired by this restaurant, you decide, you know what? I'm not going to cook. I'm going to be a carpenter. Do you know you just can't stop being a chef to becoming a carpenter? It takes time, it takes skills, it takes resources. So Canada deciding that it's going to start trying to manufacture its own fighter jets and give contracts to the EU, it's the equivalent of what I just said. This is really, really critical for you guys to understand. To go from broke money to new money and new money to more money, you have to pivot in a way that strategically makes sense. It's like building blocks. You cannot just jump off because you're caught up in your emotions. That is how you hinder and you basically dwindle your income earning potential. Thank you for the gift. So here's the next story. I'm not sure if I'm saying this name correctly, but work with me. Macron. He is the French president. Now Macron is he's the prime minister president of France. France is a part of the EU. Now let me walk you through this, okay? This is another example of people making money moves. It's about betrayal and it's about hustle. Even on a business global scale, it's about betrayal and it's about hustle. Let me explain to you why. The EU is currently not feeling the US. France is a part of the EU. Now, Macron, forgive me, please forgive me. Forgive me, this French president has recently gone to Saudi Arabia. Now, let me walk you through this. A lot of people seems to be going to Saudi Arabia, okay? I don't know what's happening in Saudi Arabia, but a lot of countries are going to Saudi Arabia, okay? And let me walk you through this. Not too long ago, the U.S., President Trump, visited Saudi Arabia. And when President Trump left Saudi Arabia, he returned back to the U.S. with a $1 trillion investment. Projected, more than likely, investment from Saudi Arabia in the United States of America. Now, France is a part of the EU. The purpose of being a part of the EU is that they are stronger together. They're stronger as a collective. Trade-wise, monetary-wise, they're stronger together. Now, Macron, the French president, has decided to go by himself to Saudi Arabia just to tell Saudi Arabia that they support peace in Ukraine, and they do not condone, they are in disapproval of U.S. activity in the Gaza Strip. Let me tell you this, it doesn't make any sense. Why would the president of France go all the way to Saudi Arabia just to tell Saudi Arabia that they do not approve of what's happening in Gaza with Israel and that they support peace? Let me tell you, that's a cover story. It's a cover story. Let me explain to you why. France is a part of the EU. France is supposed to be operating in unison with the EU. This France president has gone out of his way, spent money, got on a private plane to go to Saudi Arabia just to tell Saudi Arabia, we want peace in the Ukraine and we don't support what's happening in Gaza and Israel. That doesn't make any sense. He could have did that on a Zoom call. Now let me tell you what's happening. Hello, Aaron, welcome. Let me tell you what's happening. France is hoping to secure some type of money deal, either with Saudi Arabia or via Saudi Arabia. I told you everything is about money. No president goes to foreign lands to have a 5-minute conversation about peace in Ukraine and hostile activities in Israel and Gaza. I told you guys, you got to see beyond the story you're being told. Now, let me tell you why he did it. A friend of yours is a friend of mine. A friend of yours is a friend of mine. Now, let me explain to you. The EU has a problem with the US. So France is using Saudi Arabia as a cover to have behind the scenes conversations with the US because France is looking to save its own ass. Financially, military-wise, politically, whatever you want to call it. Saudi Arabia is serving as a hub to allow people who are not supposed to be talking to one another to start securing economic deals and investments that they cannot get on the surface because so-called partners and allies would frown upon it. If you're understanding me, tap the screen. I told you this is going to be a comprehensive live because I want you to understand even presidents' countries are making moves to secure their economic interests. This is critical for you as individuals to understand this because some of you live in fear, you live in denial, and you refuse to accept. You refuse to accept the patterns of how money is being made. I don't know why you think that you could sit in your condo, your white picket fence, or wherever the hell you live and not make moves. Money flows. And if by the end of this live stream, it is my goal to help you understand, you must make moves. You must invest in yourself, and you must do what rich countries do, what rich people do. You must follow the same patterns because when you follow that energetic economic energy, you change your ability to earn money. So let's wrap this up. Trump is not in good spirits or in good relations with the EU. France has stepped out of its playground, out of its playing field to go to Saudi Arabia under the guise of saying Israel and Gaza, no, no, no. Ukraine, Russia, peace. No, that was his cover story. And I need you guys in the world to understand this is what or how things happen. France is not ready to out itself that it's potentially not in full alignment with the EU. So when you're not in full alignment with your so-called partners and your buddies that you have been in close connection with, you have to have a way to cover your steps so that you can start securing the interests of your country. And you know what the president of France is concerned about? The president of France is concerned about France. The president of France is concerned about France and the citizens of France. And that is why people are going to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a friend of everyone, okay? And everyone who's a friend of everyone is a friend of no one. I want to repeat this. Someone who's friends with everyone is a friend of no one. So what is Saudi Arabia getting out of this? One, they're getting influence, they're getting power, they're getting access to deals that we're not familiar about, okay? You must understand. It's about money. It's about connections. It's about power. Is this wrong? I don't care. Is it right? I don't care. I told you the purpose of my live stream is to help you understand, identify economic trends so you can have prosperity. All this other stuff serves no purpose in my live stream. This is about teaching you how to be a part of economic booms on an individual level. And I am using history, I am using current events, and I'm using business to help you see this is what they do. And if you want to live this type of life and you don't want to get caught up in recessions and depressions, then you must understand there is a way to go about building wealth and prosperity in your life, okay? Now I have a funny story for you. Anyone who pays attention to the news, you know that President Trump offered Ukraine and Zelensky funding, money. But Trump wanted the resources, the minerals of Ukraine. Are you familiar with that? People in my life, do you know that Trump said, we want 50% of your natural resources, and in returns, we will continue to give you funding. Did you know that? Now, here's the funny story. The Congo, okay? The Congo's in Africa. Now, they've been fighting in the Congo for a very, very long time. So if you don't know this, they've been fighting a very, very long time in the Congo, all right? The Congo has offered minerals for security. So the Congo is trying to reach out to the U.S. and they're saying, if you give us tools, you give us tools of destruction, you can have access to our minerals. It's the same deal that we were offering Ukraine. Now, here's the funny part. Do you think this is the first time we have invested or gotten minerals from Africa? Do you think this is the first time we have given money to the continent of Africa, United States? No, it's not the first time. So let's look at this logically. Let's look at this objectively. Why would Trump, the U.S., not offer the same deal to the continent, to the Congo? Why would the U.S. offered that deal to Ukraine? Congo has good resources too. Why would the U.S. not offer the same deal to the Congo? Because the Congo is a really mineral rich. It's a rich place with natural resources. Let me tell you why. There is a consistent economic path of things being very tumultuous, things being very risky, things being not stable. So even if we offered that money in return for the minerals, where does that money go? Where does that money end up? See, the problem is that sometimes in U.S. history, we invest money in minerals and resources in exchange for other things, but that money ends up in the wrong hands, and that money ends up engaging in activities that is counterproductive to the interests of the United States. So why is the United States not offering the same mineral for arms deal? We're not offering the minerals to the arms deal because that money more than likely is not going to be able to help us get the minerals we want. You understand? There's a pattern of betrayal. There's a pattern of mismanagement. There's a pattern of destabilization, instability. There's a pattern. And because of that pattern, if I was the president of the United States, I would not put my money there. Now, the reason why it was offered to Ukraine is because there is greater transparency and there's more control. You understand? You have to be very careful on where you put your money and where you invest your money, because sometimes partnerships can also be your destruction. Who you partner with, who you align with can also play a huge part in your success or your failure. This is on a global point of view, but the same thing principle applies in your individual lives. You need to be careful on who you partner with. You need to be careful on who you are exchanging money and things with, because that can lead to your downfall. So why did Ukraine get the deal and not the Congo? Well, it's evident. Risk reward. Risk reward. The deal from the Congo is too risky. It's too risky. Ukraine, a little bit more stable. We have our hands in that pond a little bit more to control the outcome for ourselves. So this is an example where people like to say, oh, it has to do with race. And no, it has nothing to do with race. It has something to do with risk and reward. Sometimes we need to stop focusing on these distractions and let's get down to cold, hard cash. The same deal cannot be offered to the Congo because there are circumstances that are going to interfere with the U.S. ability to mine that land in the Congo. Because we'll be too busy trying to protect the mines and not have a chance to spend money on mining the mines. Stop focusing on things that are distraction. Do you understand? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But here's the thing, guys. Forcing war-torn countries to give you resources in exchange for protection is extortion. Let me give you this. Hold on. Don't block. Let me explain this. How else do you think war-torn countries are going to generate an income? Anyone else who's watched my live stream, hold on. Anyone else who's watched my live stream, you know that when a country lacks stability, that means it heavily restricts its potential to earn an income. So unless outside influences come in and pour money and create stabilization, a war-torn country will be a war-torn country. And with a war-torn country, you basically have generational poverty. So you're trying to say that you want someone to come in, hand over their bank account to a war-torn country for free and get nothing in return. Let me ask you this. You get paid every 2 weeks, right? I want you to give me your whole paycheck. Why? Because I'm a divorced woman. I want you to give me your monthly salary. Why? Because I happen to be a divorced woman. And you are going to get nothing in return. So if you won't give me your paycheck for free, why do you expect a country to come in and pour money and they earn that money? So on one hand, you say it's extortion, but on the other hand, it's called business. Business is about exchange. Do you have anything of value to offer? Unfortunately, in war-torn countries, the only thing they really have to offer are the minerals and the resources that's in their land. Because they lack the ability to create stability and innovation and invest in innovation and technology, the only thing that they have to offer are the minerals and resources. No one's giving away money. Money makes money. No one gives away money. So some of you guys who come in my live stream with these humanitarian points of view, you don't understand that life is about exchange, is give and take. You can't expect a war-torn country to take money and not give anything in return. That's called welfare. The fact is this: can the war-torn country stabilize itself? Can the war-torn country have enough income for reconstruction and development? And if a war-torn country does not have the money for reconstruction, development, and stability, guess what? You need foreign investors. And to get foreign investment, you got to give something up. Snap, snap, people. Get with the program. Get with the program. You walk past people who are living on the street, and I can guarantee you, you don't give them food, you don't give them money. You walk past people on the street, you don't give them food or money. So don't tell me that it's extortion, because every time you walk past a homeless person and you don't give them food, clothing, water, or shelter, you're essentially extorting them. Okay? Let's get off our high horse and let's focus on what this is on. This is about cash. This is about history, and this is about identifying prosperity and economic trends. Now, I'm sorry, I meant no disrespect. I didn't mean to embarrass you, but I got to present this to you from a logical way. It is easy to sit here and say that countries are extorting other countries, but the fact is, do you add any value? If you have a job, you have a job because one, you add value, and the company wants to pay you for that value you add. So unfortunately for a war-torn country, because of the sheer amount of instability and how destabilized everything is, the only thing that they have to offer are their natural resources. You need to accept reality. Even in nature, nature takes. Nature takes. In order for a tornado or hurricane to get to massive levels, guess what it does? It sucks water. It sucks energy. This is laws of the universe. I'm just talking to you about from an economic point of view. Even nature takes to create. So if you're in my live stream talking about, it's extortion, no, you're unrealistic. And unless you plan on funding a destabilized nation with your 2-week paychecks, I suggest you pause, think about what I'm saying, and let's move forward. Are y'all still with me? If you're still with me, please tap the screen and give me hearts. Welcome to my live stream, guys. I don't deal with emotions. I deal with facts. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. And everything that most people do, it is about money. It's about prosperity, because it's give and take. It's an exchange. It's an exchange. And when you get it through your mind that you must give something to get something, you must give to receive. In business, you give your money, you receive a product or service. Even in a war-torn country, you offer up your minerals, you get protection, you get stabilization. Are you with me? Welcome to my live. Back on topic. So the Congo, guess what? It's not happening for the Congo. Too much risk. Not enough opportunity. There's too many hidden costs, sunken costs when it comes to the U.S. giving this deal to the Congo. I want to repeat. The Congo is not getting these deals because there are hidden costs, there are sunken costs, and there are diminishing returns. And that is why Ukraine got this deal and not the Congo. It has nothing to do with the color of the skin. It's basic fundamentals and economics. And I want y'all to understand that. On the surface, it looks like it's one way, but if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense, and it must have a profit. Now, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is making moves. Let me tell you why. Saudi Arabia knows that the reliance on fossil fuels, the reliance on oil and gas is not the future. Now, if you don't know about the history of Saudi Arabia owns a company called Aramco. Aramco is basically a company that got started with American funding, and it partnered with Saudi Arabia. And what they started doing is they started mining and drilling the land of Saudi Arabia. And that is how they were able to hit liquid gold. What is liquid gold? It's oil and gas. Americans invested. You had research. You had scientists from Stanford and Ivy League universities. You have drilling and mining companies. They came to Saudi Arabia 50, 70 years ago. Saudi Arabia let them set up shop because foreign investment and research allowed Saudi Arabia to mine its land because liquid gold was under their ground. Now, Saudi Arabia is smart, because they understand that our reliance on fossil fuels will not continue in the future. What did I tell you about people recognizing economic booms and economic busts? Saudi Arabia knows that fossil fuels and oil and gas in the future will become a bust. So Saudi Arabia is not waiting until we no longer need oil and gas in the West. Saudi Arabia is making moves now. Let me tell you how. First, Saudi Arabia is investing $1 trillion over 4 years into the U.S. economy. Saudi Arabia has just invested a few million, maybe billion, hundreds of millions of dollars into Air Asia. So Saudi Arabia is taking the trillions of dollars that it has earned from oil and gas and foreign investment, and it is diversifying its interests so that when we stop using oil and gas and we're relying on renewable energies, they do not become obsolete. If you go back in time in history, you will see great nations, great civilization, rich countries cease to exist because they sit on their high horse and they refuse to see where the world is going. Where are we going? We're going into renewable energy. We're going into electric vehicles. We're going into the digital age. We are moving away from fossil fuels like oil and gas. So when you have countries that are heavily reliant on oil and gas, and they see Elon Musk is in space and creating electric vehicles here, Saudi Arabia has enough sense to say, oh my, I need to change. So what is Saudi Arabia doing? Let me tell you what they're doing. They are making as much money as possible off of their oil and gas. They're taking the profits from that oil and gas, and they are investing in energies or investing in technologies that allows them to pivot and go away from relying on oil and gas. But let me tell you what they're doing now. If you watch my live stream yesterday, I talked about Iraq, but let me tell you this. When you go back in history and you look at ancient great civilizations, they became great, rich civilizations for a number of reasons. Some of them are resources. Some of them are because of location. Some of them are because of education. Okay, are you with me? Iraq was one of those great, wealthy places 5,000, 10,000 years ago because of its geographical location. It was a trade hub. Now you have Saudi Arabia. What put Saudi Arabia on the map? Outside foreign investment. Saudi Arabia knew that they had oil underneath their grounds, but they did not have the money, the technology, or the expertise to mine that land. So what Saudi Arabia did is Saudi Arabia partnered with people from the US, Ivy League universities, and other companies and allowed them to invest. Saudi Arabia partnered with the US to mine that land. Now, what happened because of that? Saudi Arabia became rich. So what is Saudi Arabia doing today? Saudi Arabia is now opening up exploration licenses. What is an exploration license? It's highly speculative and it's risky. They are offering exploration licenses to local and international companies for mining. So Saudi Arabia is going back to the roots of its success. They let foreign investment explore their lands, and when liquid gold or whatever was hit, Saudi Arabia became rich. So they're doing it again. They're allowing people with the money, the resources, the technology, the people to lease parts of their land, to mine it, to see what's there. And when they find it, guess what? Saudi Arabia gets a cut. So Saudi Arabia is outsourcing the risk of what goes into mining and drilling land and finding resources. You must understand the strategic brilliance of this, because typically we always think that we have to take on all the risk. No, Saudi Arabia is betting on its past history. Saudi Arabia is using the success of its drilling and oil and gas as a premise to position this speculative license to other investors. So what are they saying? Look at how much money was made from investing in our land, and we found oil and gas. So now Saudi Arabia is going out to the world saying, hey, we are leasing parts of our land for exploration. You pay us, you get to mine, and whatever you find, we'll split. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. They've outsourced the risk, which means they have a high ROI because the cost associated with this is essentially zero. They're letting someone else take the risk. Do you understand? This is really important. You have a country like Saudi Arabia who's safeguarding its future interests. I got a few more examples for you guys before I bring you home. And I'm probably not going to get through them all. But the point I want you to understand with my live stream is there's a way for you to thrive during a global recession that's happening. Just because there's a global recession does not mean that everyone is suffering financially. The people who are thriving are actually in industries where it's booming. So if you happen to be in an industry that's not booming, you are in a recession. But if you're working in an industry that is thriving, you're not in a recession, you are in an economic boom. Did you understand? You thought because you were broke, everyone is broke. You thought because you can't generate an income, that doesn't apply. And by the end of my live stream, I'm going to point you towards an industry that I think you should really, really explore. Really explore. Because it's risk averse, it's affordable, and it's lucrative. And if you lack patience right now, all you have to do is leave my live stream and go to my profile. But back on topic. So Saudi Arabia is offering exploration licenses to local and international companies because one is going to generate a source of income from Saudi Arabia. By offering these land leases, they get money. By offering these land leases, these people will have to come. They will have to mine the land. That means they will be hiring local labor. That means Saudi Arabia is creating a microeconomic boom just from these exploration licenses. Listen to me, guys. If you're with me, tap that screen. I told you this is a complicated live, and my live stream is not for everyone. Economic booms can be created from any number of ways. It can be created through war. It can be created through reconstruction and peace. It could be created through global trade. It could be created through technology. Saudi Arabia is creating its own microeconomic boom by offering these exploration licenses. That means you will be having companies, people, citizens moving to Saudi Arabia for jobs to explore this land. You have scientists who can now get hired to do this because of what Saudi Arabia is offering. This is huge. So the same actions and tactics that a country like Saudi Arabia can employ, that is the same mentality you must employ for your own prosperity. Just because you happen to be one person, an individual, you must see yourself as a country of one, who's constantly looking for economic booms, economic prosperity, so you can jump on the next wave to the next. That is how you earn money. Every wave comes to an end. And if you do not hop on the wave, if you're a surfer, every wave comes to an end. And if you don't know how to hop on from one economic wave to the next, guess what? You're not surfing. You end up beached. You end up on the sand. It's only people who know how to ride a wave and go from one to the next that they keep with the flow of money. You understand? Good. Now, this is going to create a boom in Saudi Arabia. It's going to create jobs domestically, and the companies that come from foreign investment, they're going to bring in some of their people because money spent is like a multiplier effect. So Saudi Arabia's actions are actually stimulating the economy. Now, the immediate effect will be felt in Saudi Arabia, but the money will trickle out overseas and impact all of us because financially we are all connected. Now, this is my last story of the day for you guys, and then I'm going to bring this home, all right? The U.S. and China's fighting, BFD. Anyone who knows U.S. and China is always fighting about something, okay? 1 minute we're like best friends, and the next minute we're enemies, okay? U.S. and China's fighting, but let me tell you why. The U.S. and China is fighting over the sale of ports in the Panama Canal. Now, if you don't know anything about the Panama Canal is money, money, cash, cash, money, money. Cash, cash, money, money, cash, cash, money, money, cash, cash, money, money. Let me tell you why. Trade started because of global, we were doing immigration. We were migrating around the world. And when we migrated around the world, we realized that we actually have customers all over the world. So when we started sailing around, we realized that back in the day, we had to sail around the tip of Africa. Now, anyone who knows anything about history, you know sailing around the tip of Africa is one of the longest, most risky, expensive ways to do global trade through water. So you had canals like the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal. You had canals created so that it was a shortcut. It was safer, it was less risky, and goods and investment made it to their destination. Now, the Panama Canal was owned by the U.S. for a period of time, and then the U.S. gave Panama its independence. In the meantime, while Panama had its independence, Panama basically started having very close relations with China. Now, there is a company called C.K. Hutchinson. C.K. Hutchinson, okay, owns 2 ports in the Panama Canal. Now, the owner of C.K. Hutchinson, that's the name of the company, the owner of C.K. Hutchinson is a Chinese man. And now this man's name is Kashing. Is it Kashing? His name is Kashing. Not Kaching, his name is Kashing. So Kashing is a billionaire, Chinese billionaire. And he owns 2 ports in the Panama Canal. Now, the U.S. claims that Chinese has control over the canal because a Chinese billionaire owns it. All right, work with me here. So this C.K. Hutchinson, the owner, Kashing, is selling. He is selling his ports, or he's selling 43 out of 53 ports. Now, let me tell you what's happening. Kashing is a Chinese citizen. And because he's selling 43 out of 53 ports in the Panama Canal,
around the world.
Oh, he's selling 43 out of 53 ports around the world. Let me tell you what's happening.
2 of them are from Panama.
2 of them are from Panama. So let me get the facts straight. This man owns 53 ports all over the world. Out of his 53 ports, 2 are in the Panama Canal. Okay? He is selling those 2 ports in the Panama Canal. Now, the U.S., the country, China, the country, are fighting. The Chinese are upset with Kashing because they called him, what they call him? They called him spineless and groveling. Because this man, Kashing, is thinking about considering selling those ports back to the U.S. Now, I want you to see what's going on here. You have a private Chinese billionaire who owns 53 ports all over the world. 2 of those ports are in the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal has made trade shorter, safer, and made it more lucrative for businesses and cheaper for you to get goods. Now, this man, who is a private Chinese citizen, billionaire, is getting scolded internationally by the country China by calling him spineless and groveling because he is considering selling those ports back to the U.S. Now, why is China calling this man spineless? Because the U.S. and China are fighting. I want you to understand that even the gossip and the maliciousness that happens on an individual level also happens on a global level. This man is a private business owner. He is a billionaire business owner, and he has the right to be able to sell his company, his assets, how he please. But then you have a government who's coming in, embarrassing him, pressuring him, trying to keep him from exercising his right in a capitalist society. So you guys think you're the only ones who are getting shafted, who are getting gossip about, who are getting your careers and credibility ruined. I just give you an example of a Chinese billionaire who's getting basically reamed publicly, internationally, because he is exercising his right to sell his property. Now, why is this relevant? The man, Kashing, is a billionaire for a reason. This man has amassed great wealth because he's able to identify economic trends. No rich person sells an asset unless they foresee that this asset in the future will become a liability. And a liability is a cost or it becomes obsolete. So this man is getting rid of his ports, selling his ports off for financial reasons. Why is this critical? Because that is how you go from money, new money, to more money. A lot of you operate by fear. You operate by insecurities. You operate by blindness. Even rich people have confidence issues. Even rich people have confidence issues. Did you hear me? Even rich people have confidence issues. They have confidence issues. So when I position to you, I'm getting ready to close this home. So when I talk to you about a microeconomic boom, and you let your fear and insecurities and confidence issues interfere, you must understand you are signing up for possibility of generational poverty. Investing in economic booms for your benefit has nothing to do with your confidence issues. That's one of the greatest mistakes you think. You think because someone is rich and successful that they have confidence. No, everyone struggles with their own issues. You must understand that that is separate from your money. You can still earn money and have confidence issues. Now, let me bring this home. Where's the economic boom happening for you? Okay? There is a major boom happening in the digital industry. The digital industry includes quantum computing, chips, AI, algorithms, automations, e-learning, robotics, It includes cell phones. Now, why is this relevant? How do you know this is an economic boom? I know this is an economic boom because millions, billions, and trillions of dollars are being poured into digital technologies. Digital technologies are playing a huge, if not the only proponent, close to the only proponent as to why you are struggling to find a job. If you're driving Uber and Lyft because you can't get a job to make ends meet, you must understand you are using technologies from the digital age to earn an income. The only mistake that you're making is that you're giving away 50% of your money if you're driving for Uber and Lyft. So I've illustrated to you a lot of activity is happening from your cell phone. A lot of Uber drivers, Amazon drivers, technologies that's in your phone could be earning you money. You could have a 2-hour workday, daily pay, and 100% profits in your bank account, all by using technologies of the digital age. So what am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to consider as follows. Instead of you being a victim to innovation, investment, and technologies, I'm asking you to align with it. Use it for yourself to harness its income earning abilities so that you can have 100% profit. Listen to me. Because of digital technologies, traditional old money ways will no longer be able to survive because of the technology that's being created and invested in right now. You used to go to school for 4 years, take on student loan debt, and hope to get a job, work for 40 years, retire, and hopefully have a retirement account. That doesn't work. That's too slow, and it costs too much. You can't afford to do that. You can't afford to go to school for 4 years and not be in alignment with what's happening economically. Now, does that mean that you do not have knowledge and education? No. What I'm saying is that you can get real-time education, real-time skills, and earn money real-time. They used to happen in succession. Succession means one after the other. They are now happening at the same time, parallel, tandem. What does that mean? I'm going to repeat. One of the old ways of earning money is things used to follow in succession. That's like this: A, B, C, D. Because of digital technologies, you now are able to earn and learn and earn at the same time. Your income earning abilities are now not being stopped or hindered by old money ways. Okay, you with me? Good. Because of the money that's being invested and because of COVID-19, the e-learning industry is booming. Listen to me. The e-learning industry is booming. It is booming because of the technologies that's being invested in AI and automations. Remember I told you at some point in my live stream, instead of resisting the movement of money, instead of resisting the technologies because you're bitter, I'm telling you, you can use the same technologies to generate an income. So the same reason why you lost your job can be the same reason why you work for yourself. Did you hear me? The same reason why you're losing your job or your ability to earn income is the same reason how you're going to be able to earn your income, but it's in a new industry. The e-learning industry is a $1.5 billion daily industry. 1.5 billion every single day. It is projected, hello Lele, it is projected to double in 2.5 years. So $1.5 billion daily is going to become $3 billion daily. That is called a microeconomic boom. Remember I told you Saudi Arabia is offering exploration licenses, and the offer of those exploration licenses is going to help. Yes, and Saudi Arabia offering exploration licenses is actually going to create a microeconomic boom. Well, because of the money that's being invested in AI and automations, it is, and COVID-19, it opened up a world for e-learning. Now, if you don't know this, I need to tell you this. Trump is dismantling the Department of Education. Listen to me. Trump, thank you, Adriana, e-learning. Trump is dismantling the Department of Education. Now, anyone who is in the U.S. that is here, you must understand. He's dismantling the Department of Education, not because he does not believe in education. It's because there's a more efficient, more cost-effective way to educate U.S. citizens. That is an old system that's being dismantled and destroyed. So when I tell you e-learning is a lucrative industry for you to consider, using technologies of AI and automations, you must understand how critical this is. Now, anyone who knows anything about economic booms, it's about timing. It's like surfing. It's like crossing the street. Before you cross the street, you look left, right, you look left again. You look to make sure it's safe to cross. It's the same with riding an economic boom. To ride an economic boom, you need timing, you need skill, and you need technologies. Right now, okay, you can have both. And let me explain to you. I am a digital nomad. That means I travel the world and I earn digital money. To earn digital money, I had to get reskilled. I had to get the technology, and I had to execute them both at the same time. Now, for some of you, you're thinking, how can I do this? I don't have your education. I don't have your work experience. I'm not as whatever. You must understand that the digital industry, the digital economic boom is actually leveling the playing field. Because the digital industry is destroying a number of industries, it's actually leveling the playing field, which means glass ceilings are goodbye. Socioeconomic barriers are goodbye. This is critical. Through chaos, there is opportunity. There is chaos right now. And with chaos, there is opportunity for every type of person to advance when you get in an economic boom at the right time. Now, if you know anything about economic booms, they begin and they end. They begin and they end. Now, e-learning, AI, automations, they just didn't appear out of nowhere. They've been here for a while. The good news is that because of the sheer amount of money that's being invested in AI and automations, it's created a very lucrative moment for you. You have spent around $1,000, give or take, for your cell phone. You have spent / wasted $1,000 on a cell phone. What if I told you you could, for one time investment, you could have an online automated system that uses the technology of AI, online, and automations in the e-learning industry, and you would have an online system that works for you 24/7, earning you 100% profits. I want you to listen to me. You are used to an 8-hour workday, 8, 12, 16-hour workday. I have a 2-hour workday. I have a 2-hour workday. I have a 2-hour workday because I have an online automated system, which is an online website that's automated. Did you block? Mm-hmm. Did you get meme, Craig? Okay. I have an online, I told you guys you're going to get blocked. I have an online automated system that works for me 24/7. That means it works for me 24/7. So you work 16 hours a day. I have an automated system that works 24/7, and I only work 2 hours a day. Why is this critical? I told you the technologies that are interfering with your ability to earn an income are the same technologies that you must use to earn money in the digital age and the digital industry. You no longer have to work long hours. You no longer have to give away your money. You no longer have to have small commissions. You no longer have to have middlemen. You no longer have to be trapped in a cubicle on the desk. Because of the technologies that's being invested in by companies like IBM, Microsoft, Google, countries like Saudi Arabia, China, and Taiwan, they are affording opportunities for you, everyday people around the world, to actually master this. Listen, anyone, if you don't want to watch my live stream, let me tell you what you can do. You can just go to my profile. You're going to get blocked. You're going to get blocked, okay? So what you can do, you can use the same technologies that put you out of a job to put you into a strong income. The e-learning industry has no gatekeepers. Now, let me get back to this automated system, okay? Very quickly. This automated system is a website that uses automations and AI. All you have to do is plug in your domain. All you have to do is get a domain name and plug it into, because it's already built. You do not have to spend any money, any time on building anything. One. Now, just like your iPhone, it comes with the manual. To earn money in a new industry, to benefit from an economic boom, you have to get reskilled. Reskilling, it's critical. You need knowledge and expertise, you need the technology, and you need timing. That is how you make money in an economic boom. Hi from Canada, you need reskilled. You need the technology, and you need to get in at the right time. Now, I told you Saudi Arabia, I told you Canada, I told you EU. I've given you many examples of how countries are investing in their economic prosperity for now and the future that allows them to maintain their quality of life. And I told you by the end of my live stream, I would have a question for you. What are you doing? You're losing your job and you need to earn money. The way you're going to earn money is by getting into an industry that is booming, that has no gatekeepers, no regulators, no permits, no difficult entry points. For $600 or $300 or $100, listen to me, for $600 or $300 or $100, one-time payment, you can have an automated money machine and get reskilled at the same time. Listen to me. You spent more money on your cell phone. If you would have spent one time only $600 or $300 or $100, you could have had, there's a puzzle. You could have your own automated system that allows you to have a 2-hour workday, get paid daily, and earn 100% of the profits. The reason why this works is that everything is already created. Everything is already created. You don't have to create anything. So your education, it doesn't matter. You have to be reskilled. Unless you know something about the digital industry, you have to be reskilled. You can be a real estate agent, a professor, you can be whatever. The fact is, everyone is getting impacted. You have to be reskilled, and you have to have the technology. If you get in too late, with all economic booms, the money is gone. The money is gone. Ask a stock investor, ask a real estate agent. When money is flowing and things are booming, that means things are appreciating. The reason why the e-learning industry is projected to double is because Trump just dismantled the Department of Education. Trump is dismantling the Department of Education. So don't you think, it's not get rich quick. I just want to repeat. You have to get reskilled. Now, what it means to get rich is different for everybody. This is not a get rich. That is correct. Now, I think is relatively easy. Let me explain to you why. This is a really good point. I'm going to say intelligent. I'm going to call you bite. This is really important for you to understand. Unlike traditional ways of you earning money, where your employer invests in your training, you are actually investing in your own reskills. You are investing in getting your own tools. If you can invest in a cell phone, pull that cell phone out of a box, read that manual to get your cell phone up and running, you can do this. But it's critical for you to understand, can you be profitable in 7 days? Yes. Is everyone going to be profitable in 7 days? No, because your skill sets, your commitment, and your consistency could interfere. Is there 100% profits? Yes. Is there money, 100% profits to be made? Yes. I stand on. What is the risk? The risk is you. So if you're potentially interested in a 2-hour workday, daily pay, 100% profits, and having an online business that uses the technologies of AI and automations and a booming industry, while Trump is dismantling the Department of Education, that, to me, it's a no-brainer. But you have to be committed. You have to be consistent. You need 2 hours a day. You need a cell phone. You need Wi-Fi. You need 2 hours a day. You need a cell phone and Wi-Fi. And if you follow directions, you can learn to earn. Now, I've run out of time. Anyone who's interested, let me tell you what you do. This is your call to action. I don't have the time to go into detail for this because my live stream was to illustrate for you the way that you identify prosperity and economic booms are looking at where the money's flowing, what people are engaging in, and then you can make a strategic economic decision for you. If you want more detail, you go to you go to my profile. On my profile, there's my website. I'm not giving out my website. On my profile, you go to on my profile is my website. On my website, you will get all the details you want. Is this valid? Yes. Is this real? Yes. If you're struggling financially, I think you should check it out. You can do this from the DR. Yes, you can. Anywhere in the world. I'm in Malaysia. You can do this anywhere in the world. One-time investment gets you technology that is in alignment with this economic boom. It gets you reskilled in an industry that's economically booming, and you have invested in yourself. A 4-year-old can do this. A 4-year-old can do this. A 4-year-old can do this. You understand? You can be a high school dropout, or you can be an executive. Everyone who's making money in this digital age, they have to be reskilled. So if you don't have the skills, you don't have the technology, it's already created. All you got to do is look into it. So I have to go. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for the people who have basically registered for my live stream tomorrow. But you must understand, you need to take action. Saudi Arabia is taking action. The U.S. is taking action. Canada is taking action. The EU is taking action. China's taking action. Mr. Billionaire Cushing is taking action. The only people who are not taking action for their economic future, is it going to be you? Will you be on the broke money side, or will you be on the new money, more money side? The choice is yours. A recession is a state of mind. A recession is a state of mind. You choose. Are you going to be on the new money side or the recession side? You choose. Have a good night. Thank you for the hearts. I'll see you tomorrow.